Hinduism. Some believe it's the world's oldest religion, with its roots and customs dating back 4,000 years. Although Jewish religious roots might go back further depending on when one dates the beginning of Hebrew worship, Hinduism is certainly one of the oldest and largest ancient religions, predating Egyptian, Greek, and Roman polytheism. Today, Hinduism has 1.2 billion followers, or 16% of the world's population. Hinduism traces its roots to the Asia-Pacific region, where the majority of its followers reside. Indeed, Hinduism is the most geographically concentrated of the major religious groups. Less than 1% of Hindus live outside Asia and the Pacific, with 94% of Hindus living in India.
Why so many Hindus in India? Well, as we look back in human history, we see some various places where civilizations actually did start and grow. Obviously, the Middle East is one of those. Obviously, North Africa, Egypt, and so forth, that's one of those. And the Indus Valley over there in India is one as well. So apparently, growing out of that particular population, these ideas became rather important to them as they developed. And of course, from a biblical standpoint, if people did really come out of the Tower of Babel and start spreading out everywhere, they take various traditions with them, and it kind of depends what tradition actually went in that direction. So perhaps that's why we end up with so many Hindus in India.
Because the religion has no specific founder, it's difficult to trace its origins and history. Currently, the world's third largest religion, trailing only Christianity and Islam, Hinduism is unique in that it's not a single religion, but a compilation of many traditions and philosophies. It's sort of a religious anarchy in action, with no real structure, and is interwoven with Indian culture. It's guessed that it might have 33 million gods, and many differences among various Hindu groups. Hinduism embraces many religious ideas. For this reason, it's sometimes referred to as a way of life or a family of religions, as opposed to a single organized religion. Most Hindus worship a single deity, but still recognize other gods and goddesses. Followers believe there are multiple paths to reaching their god.
The thing about it is it's so, I guess you might say, all-inclusive. You're not looking at an exclusive kind of thing. You are free to expand beyond just one god or two gods or whatever to follow. Unlike Christianity, where, of course, in Christianity, it's one god. And even Judaism and Islam, one god, monotheistic religions. Hinduism just isn't that way, so they don't look at it in that way.
Vishnu is one of the most important gods in the Hindu pantheon, and considered a member of the Holy Trinity of Hinduism, with Brahma and Shiva. Vishnu is the preserver and guardian of men. He protects the order of things, and he appears on Earth in various incarnations to fight demons and to maintain cosmic harmony. Brahma is the Hindu creator god. In the beginning, Brahma sprang from the cosmic golden egg, and he then created good and evil and light and dark from his own person. He also created the four types: gods, demons, ancestors, and men. Brahma then made all living creatures upon the earth. Shiva is known as the destroyer. While the other gods are responsible for the creation and preservation of the earth, Shiva must destroy it in order to recreate it. One of Shiva's largest responsibilities is to dance, which symbolizes truth and is meant to rid the world of ignorance and help to end the suffering from those who worship him. Krishna is one of the most widely revered and most popular of all Indian deities, worshipped as the 8th incarnation of Vishnu and also as a supreme god in his own right. God of compassion, tenderness, and love. Krishna became the focus of numerous devotional cults, which have over the centuries produced a wealth of religious poetry, music, and painting.
Krishna, Krishna, oh Krishna, where are you playing the flute from, and the melody breaking it, with the sweet notes flowing down to us? Krishna, Krishna, a golden statue of Krishna, the eyes lie they closed in, and the image, so captivating and charming, delighting the self. Krishna, Krishna, playing the tunes, and the sweet notes breaking forth, the melodies taking us far away, and the image of the one with the flute, dancing before the eyes. Krishna with the flute, playing the notes, seated under the kadamba tree, going with the cowherds, and the twilight picturesque, with their coming.
Hindus believe in the doctrines of samsara, the continuous cycle of life, death, and reincarnation, and karma, the universal law of cause and effect. One fundamental principle of the religion is the idea that people's actions and thoughts directly determine their current life and future lives. Hindus strive to achieve dharma, which is a code of living that emphasizes good conduct and morality.
There's a very direct link between the concept of karma and reincarnation, because karma says whatever you do will have consequences, both good and bad. And for Hindu faith, what you do will go on into the next life, but not the next life in the same sense as a Christian thinks about the next life, the afterlife. For Hindus, reincarnation is a very big part of what they believe. And they will come back in a future life, and actually a series of future lives. And a lot of that depends upon what kind of karma they have. If they had good karma in their life, they'll come back in a higher state in the next life. If they had bad karma, then they'll go down, in essence, for what their next life is going to be. So it's basically a continuous kind of a cycle. And this life is then the determinant of what the next life is going to be, the next incarnation. Because, that's what that word actually means, and just in the same way in Christian faith that Jesus was incarnated and became man. Well, in Hindu faith, what we have is a reincarnation of each individual from one time to the next. And it just keeps going like that.
One of the key thoughts of Hinduism is Atman, or the belief in soul. This philosophy holds that all living creatures, not just humans, have a soul, and they're part of the Supreme Soul. The goal is to achieve moksha, or salvation, which ends the cycle of rebirths to become part of the Absolute Soul. Good deeds must outweigh the bad ones to achieve this. Hindus value many sacred writings as opposed to one holy book. The primary sacred texts, known as the Vedas, were composed around 1500 BC. This collection of verses and hymns was written in Sanskrit and contains revelations received by ancient saints and sages. Author and lecturer Janine Miller devoted many years of her life to the study of Sanskrit and of the Vedas, in particular Rig Veda, one of the most ancient Indian scriptures and source of Hinduism, thought to have been written between 1500 and 1200 BCE. She believed that the wisdom in these ancient texts, with their message of an underlying cosmic order, was of particular relevance today. During a lecture at the Theosophical Society's headquarters in London, she said this:
"The Vedas are 4 collections of hymns, of praises addressed to many gods, the gods of the Aryans, the early settlers of India. These hymns purport to give the revelation and the inspiration. They do not explain anything at all. They are extraordinary documents, nevertheless, because through these praises given to the gods, a mighty civilization is revealed. We discover step by step, if we take heed of the hints, what these rishis believed in, what was their vision of life. Everything that they cherished, what was it? And this is the beauty of the Vedas.
Hindus believe that the Vedas transcend all time and don't have a beginning or an end. Hindu worship, which is known as puja, typically takes place in the mandir, or temple. Hindus can also worship at home, and many have a special shrine dedicated to certain gods and goddesses. The giving of offerings is an important part of Hindu worship, common practice to present gifts such as flowers or oils to a god or goddesses. Hindus consider the cow to be a sacred symbol of life that should be protected and revered. In the Vedas, the cow is associated with Aditi, the mother of all gods. Hindus see the cow as a particularly selfless, generous, docile creature, one that gives more to human beings than she takes from them. The cow produces 4 important things: milk, cheese, butter, and dung. The first 3 are eaten and used in worship of the Hindu gods, while the last one can be used in religious devotion or in penance or burned for fuel. Cows produce more milk than necessary for their own offspring, and this is God's arrangement for the nourishment of humans. The caste system is a social hierarchy in India that divides Hindus based on their karma and dharma. Many scholars believe the system dates back more than 3,000 years. Brahmin are the intellectual and spiritual leaders. Kshatriyas is the protectors and public servants of society. Vaisya is the skillful producers. Shudras are the unskilled laborers. The untouchables are a class of citizens that are outside the caste system and considered to be in the lowest level of the social hierarchy. For centuries, the caste system determined every aspect of a person's social, professional, and religious status in India. When India became an independent nation, its constitution banned discrimination based on caste.
I think it probably had something to do with getting independence in the 1940s and wanting to be on the world stage as an independent nation in its own right, and wanting to maybe I don't want to say this in the wrong way, but to fit in some way with how the rest of the world at least views what a civilized nation might be, and therefore backing off somewhat, at least in the legal sense, in the absolute strict sense of the caste system.
Today, the caste system still exists in India, but it is loosely followed. Many of the old customs are overlooked, but some traditions, such as only marrying within a specific caste, is still embraced.
India. Colorful, majestic, strange. A land of endless fascination for the Western visitor.
The reception of Hinduism in the Western world begins in the 19th century, At first, at an academic level of religious studies and antiquarian interest in Sanskrit. Only after World War II does Hinduism acquire a presence as a religious minority in Western nations, partly due to immigration and partly due to conversion, the latter especially in the context of the 1960s and 70s counterculture. In 1968, the band The Beatles traveled to northern India to take part in a transcendental meditation training course with the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. The visit received widespread media attention and changed Western attitudes about Indian spirituality and encouraged the study of transcendental meditation. The band's interest in the Maharishi's teachings was led by George Harrison's commitment to the religion. The song My Sweet Lord begins with repetition of Hallelujah, then switches to repetition of Hindu phrases, Hare Krishna, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, and others. The term yoga in the Western world often denotes a modern form of hatha yoga and a posture-based physical fitness, stress relief, and relaxation technique, consisting largely of the asanas. This differs from traditional yoga, which focuses on meditation and release from worldly attachments. Most Hindu texts discuss yoga as a practice to control the senses and ultimately the mind. The most famous reference in Hindu culture is the Gita, which dates back to the 5th and 3rd centuries BCE. In it, Krishna speaks of 4 types of yoga: devotion, knowledge, action, and concentration, as paths to achieve moksha, the ultimate goal according to Hindu understanding. Hinduism, an ancient religion that has dominated and continues to dominate one nation, India, while simultaneously spreading its influence into Western culture. That influence is not always recognized in the West, yet we use terms like karma all the time, and even a phrase like holy cow has become common, even without knowing the source. Hinduism, the world's 3rd largest religion, has made its mark and continues to do so.